young sir with the glasses there. Yes.
Who's your favorite character to voice act and why?
That's a very good question. It's also extraordinarily hard to answer because it's very difficult for me to play the favorites game. It's like people ask me who's your favorite Doctor, or Doctor Who, or who's your favorite this, that, and the other. There's some favorite questions. I think as I've gotten older, I've come to really be deeply suspicious of the favorites game, and I don't like to play it. I don't like to feel that I have to confine myself to liking this above all others. So, and I also feel very passionately that as an actor, my favorite thing is whatever I'm working on at the moment. Because it's very zen, it keeps me fresh, it keeps me relating to the character in a way that's very, very good for the performance and for everyone involved. And it's also very personal because, as I said earlier, all the characters kind of stay in my head and they become like this extended family. And like an extended family, we yell at each other over the table and Thanksgiving and Christmas and things like that. And we give each other horrible looks. If I were to tell you, oh, well, this person, I would just be plucking something at random just for want of an answer. And then I would later get to my hotel room tonight and I would have like 18 voices in my head going, "You're a jerk, we hate you." So I avoid playing the favorites game, but if I had to pick a favorite, I would give you like 5 or 6. And I know certainly Sebastian's one of them because people squeal when I do the voice. Sebastian's also one of my favorites because that is a love letter to the little old lady that taught me how to speak when I was a young man. True story, I had a debilitating stutter when I was very little. And so I had speech therapy for 5 to 6 years, and most of it was from this little woman who was actually named Mrs. Britt. Who was like 1,000 years old. Like, I think she's actually probably still alive somewhere. But she was very British, and so she taught me how to sort of speak in very, very proper sort of received pronunciation. And so everything was like this, and she put a candy on your tongue if you did well. It's painful, made in the plain sort of thing. And so that getting to do an accent like Sebastian and that very Regency, that Victorian rather, who received pronunciation speech was kind of my love letter to the woman who basically taught me how to have a voice. And so that makes him one of my favorites. Koya is also one of my favorites because he reminded me of me in high school, except without the money or the looks. So he's like my fantasy self in high school. And there's Isaac is also. I've said this a million times. I want to be Isaac when I grow up. I think I'm well on my way. I've certainly got the crazy and the stupid down. Now I just have to get costumes. Let's see. It's so hard to pick. I like you with the Santa hat. There's like 18 of you. Somebody with a Santa hat, shoot a question at me. Arm wrestle for it. You, madam, there in the back. Yes, you. See, we're making eye contact. Wait, that's not a Santa hat. That's something else. Damn it, then you. It's like a gray or it's like a beige thing. You're wearing like a green thing. Do you see me? You don't know that. Yes, you. Ah, you're like me. Yes.
So I make fun of pronunciation list all the time that you broke into your house. It's your side of that story.
Oh, you want me to tell you about when Brina broke into my house? I love Brina, I really do. Kind of. No, she's a dear friend. She's such a dear friend that she decided to prank me one evening when I was out of the house. She and her brother were just in town, let's say in the middle of God's nowhere where I live. And she called me while I was out with my partner doing dinner and said, "Hey, we're out, we're out and about. We couldn't remember where you live. Why don't you stop by and just hang out?" And I didn't get the call until me and my boyfriend got home, and I get home. And I'm like, oh, Brina, I'll call them when we get in the house. And I get in the house, and like the door's on, or not the door's on, like basically it's clear from the moment I walk in the door that someone has been here and it wasn't us. Furniture has been rearranged, there are books out everywhere. There's a $5 bill with a note on it that says, "We had fun, thanks," just lying on the Later, after I was talked down from calling the police, because the first person I called was Brina, and I'm like, "This has to be you." And Brina's like such a consummate actress that she persuaded me it could not have been her. What are you talking about? No, I wouldn't do that to you. Well, God, I've got to call people and figure out what's going on then, because I hope this is someone pranking me and not like a clown with an axe waiting. Like the Manson family's just creepy crawled me or whatever. So, my boyfriend, God love him, was just like, "Calm down." I'm like, "No! Someone's been in our house! Oh my God, this is insane! I don't like this. No. Bad touch." So I wanted to call the cops, and he was like, it's got to be someone we know. Let's call around a little bit. And I'd actually calm down a bit and call a few people, and it's like, okay, it's got to be someone I know. No one, nothing is stolen, nothing's taken. And then I look in the fridge, and it's about an hour and a half after I just kind of found my center again. And in the fridge is a 6-pack of really cheap beer, which I don't drink. Not the brand. I do drink beer occasionally. Just not this crap brand. And in the freezer, there is a thing of vanilla ice cream with my name on it. We're calling the cops, we're calling the cops, we're calling the cops. We're dead men. And so the cops come, the cops just think this is hilarious. Someone's just messing with you. And during all of this, I actually accidentally called an old boss of mine that I haven't spoken for 8 years, and before I knew who I was talking to, bitched her out for breaking into my house. Like, Denise, were you in my house tonight? What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, you're that Denise from 8 years ago when I worked at a place. Hi, how are you? And then and Brina will tell you that she meant to call me right back. I don't believe this part of her. She's like, I just kind of let him simmer for an hour or so, and then she got involved in watching something on television and forgot. So she let like 4 hours pass, during which much of this time I was in the corner of my own house, like in the fetal position, rocking back and forth, slapping away my boyfriend's arm every time he tried to comfort me. And she finally calls me back, and she will tell you, she calls me back and goes, oh my God, I did it, ha. Not what happened. The little minx called me and she's like, hey Tatum, this is really weird. When they broke into your house, did they leave stuff in your fridge? Oh my God, yeah, like ice cream and beer. She's like, oh my God, someone's gotten me. I'm like, this is a Sherlock Holmes story. You're gonna die. Someone's marked all the Funimation books. They're gonna feed me my favorite ice cream till I die of like ice cream freeze or like brain freeze. And so I proceed to start ranting about like, oh my God, we have to call everyone, we have to pull our resources, find out what the hell's going on. And she just like, Tatum, you're an ass, it was me. She will tell all and sundry that I have never gotten her back, and it's true. I'm terrible at pranking people, like thinking of pranks, and Brita is such an overachiever in that regard that there's nothing I could do that she was like, oh, nice. I tried to make a bunch of people believe that she had a baby, like a pet sloth that died before she came to a con. She didn't care. Didn't move her at all. She might as well have shown up wearing the damn thing as a coat. I fail. So I'm like, you know what, you've won. And she pranked me again, by the way, at a con, the first con we played together after this prank, like a year had passed. Yes. And she decided, she's like, I just want to let you know before we do this con, I'm going to prank you again. I'm like, well, why? She's like, because I think you're going to prank me, and so I'm going to bravely prank you, and, I love you. Your love hurts. So she pranked me during opening ceremonies by serenading me with her own unique version, written for me, of Send in the Clowns. Which you can view on YouTube if you're so inclined. I hate clowns with every breath of my body. So, you, front row.
Yes, finally.
Yes, that's not a question, that's an exclamation.
What are the most embarrassing stuff that ever happened to you that you regret ever going through again?
Like ever in my life?
Yes.
It's rather personal. So sneaky, no one saw you do that. He just comes over here and tells me, you're wonderful. That's his job. God, I've had some really embarrassing things happen to me in my life. That one that came up recently. My whole life has been like just one embarrassing thing after the other. Because I'm a big goofy guy and a lot of ridiculous things just happen around me. Sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's not. I will tell you this though. If ever you want to dress up for Halloween, say in your mid-20s, as I was when this happened, if indeed it did happen, I can neither confirm nor deny. If you ever want to dress up as like a great classic villain, like say Fu Manchu from the old days, the guy with the Fu Manchu and like with the box hat and everything. He was a favorite like pulp villain of mine when I was a kid. So I thought, oh my God, I'm totally gonna dress up for him for Halloween. If you do the same thing and you go all out and you have like the makeup and the dress, not the dress, but the I forget what they call them now. It's not a kimono, it's something else, but it's a man's ceremonial garb. A very, very, very Chinese thing. Beautiful thing that I had gotten. And I had the claws, and I had the buck's hat and the mustache, like waxed on. Don't, when everyone in your group who's going out to a block party that night suggests you go out for dinner, don't go to a Chinese restaurant. That would be a mistake. I didn't think of it. We'd been out all evening, and we're like, God, we're hungry. Let's just pop into here. And it was close, and we go in, and we're sitting there, and I'm halfway through the meal before everyone starts going, oh my God, you're dressed like a horrible racial stereotype. No, I'm not. This is Fu Manchu. He's like a villain from, oh my God. So I'm like, can I just like suddenly take pieces of this outfit off while I'm sitting here? And the funniest thing about it is that, you know, this was a genuine Chinese restaurant, so all the guys that worked there were Chinese and very wonderful and ingratiating. But they kept coming up to us, and like after they realized I was terribly embarrassed, they thought it was hysterical. And so they were like, can we get a picture with you? So they made me stand up against their wall and took a picture of me, this giant 6'4" guy. And all of them are like 4 feet. And I'm like, that picture is still on the wall of this place because I went there just a few weeks ago and I hadn't been in a while. I'm like, oh my God, that picture is still That was enormously embarrassing. And because I meant nothing by it, I'm just going as a villain, I remember. And I ended up going and I'm like, oh, I just insulted everyone in here. Let's see, I have time for a couple more questions because our time is winding down. I see a CL there in the back, I believe.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve. Ooh. I have a lot of those. I think my biggest. It's a verbal tick. Some people can't help it, and it's actually classified now as a verbal tick, but there are people that do it, and for the longest time, it's not such a big thing for me anymore, but for the longest time, you could be the cutest, most beautiful specimen in the world, and if you spoke like this, I'd be like, oh, turned off, can't deal with you, sorry. It's people that, or not just people, it's when you say a statement, like something declarative, but you end it like a question. That drives me crazy. Like, we all know people that do that, and we all do it ourselves sometimes. But it's people who tend to talk like this. And I think I don't like it, and I think the reason I don't like it, it's not because of the person, it's because it makes me feel like this poor person is so like ashamed of talking that they're asking for continual approval for everything they're saying. That's the impression I get. Like they're just sort of fielding everything they say, and I'm like, oh, just come out with it! Insult me, I don't care, just blah! Just make a statement. Stop asking me. That's a pet peeve. I also don't like people that just don't like stuff because they're convinced they're not going to like it. Like people that are like, oh, I'm not going to eat this because I know I would hate it. Have you tried it? No, I just know myself. No, you don't! No, you don't! Shut up and eat it. You don't eat it, and when you try it, you're not going to try it like this. Don't go, you just go, okay, and then decide. So people like that, that bugs me. I hate when people just hate stuff because they're like, well, I know I would hate that, so I'm going to hate that. I'm like, that's a conscious decision. That's not a reaction. It's great. Like it. I have time for one more question because people are standing here like with their arms folded at me, so let's take it. You with a big smiley face, why not?
We all know how much of a big Doctor Who fan you are, and I also heard that you had the opportunity to meet Alex Kingston, who played River Song, and John Barrowman, who played Captain Jack Parsons. What was it like getting the opportunity to meet those nice people?
Okay, first of all, it's awesome. Let me say, I owe meeting Alex Kingston to all of you people. Because I was in Miami, in fact, here in Florida, for a convention, SuperCon, where she was, and she was signing a table at a table near me, and of course she's beautiful in person, as gorgeous as she is on the screen, she's even more just radiant in person. And I love her work, I love her in Doctor Who, and she's so gracious with fans, and it's really cool to just watch her do her thing. This was the first con she was playing stateside too, so I'm like, oh my God, this is really great to be part of it. And I thought, I don't know if I'm going to I don't know if I have the guts to just go up to her and say hi and all that, because I'm really, really shy around, around other celebrities, I guess. I'm just like, but it just so happened that I got word from my liaison, who was friends with her liaison, that she wanted to meet me. And the reason, apparently, she wanted to meet me is because all of my fans who were coming to my autograph line were then jumping into her autograph line and pimping me the hell after her. That guy over there is the biggest Doctor Who fan and he totally loves you. You totally got to meet him. His British accent for you. So I met her and in the lounge later on and she was like, oh, you're Michael. Okay, do the accent, let's hear it. And I'm like, oh, we had fun together talking, doing dinner, and then later on they played they started playing like some cha-cha beat song and she just, oh my god, I have to dance. And she got up and formed a line and grabbed me to join them. And I was like, oh no, I don't dance. And she was like, oh, neither do I, darling, and I'm in high heels. You have no argument. So I went, and it was really great. We also talked a lot about Who. She's a huge Whovian herself, so she knows something. And I'm sitting there with like 3 other guys listening to her talk about working on the show, and then she had to stop herself because she was getting into just too many things that weren't aired yet. She's like, oh, sorry, spoilers. And all of us were like, and John Barrowman is hilarious. Let me just say about John Barrowman, who is really, really wonderfully funny. There is nothing in the world that can prepare you for him in the green room with you, just going, that's right, you do not mess with the gay, and then fist bump. Oh, sweet validation. All right, now that's it for me. We're gonna stay around and do an autograph signing thing right now, as a matter of fact, so do not bum rush the stage. They will shoulder you back.
Jamie's got some